Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. I'm recording this on Thursday. Hopefully it uploads on Thursday. But I hope everyone is doing well. We are down to only one more week left of school. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to empower yourself as a bystander when bullying is happening. So we're going to read a book that is titled Juicebox Bully. As you can see, I changed our room again. I don't know if you'll be able to see my dog. Let me see. She's a cutie. Hey, Porter. Come over here. Look, there she is. There's my dog. There's my girl. Yeah. Some of you have probably seen pictures in my office of when she was a little puppy. She is 1.5 years old now. So, okay, let's get started. So, like I said, we are reading the book, Juicebox Bully. Please don't kick my coffee, Porter. It says, empowering kids to stand up for others. As Pete stood in front of his new class, Mr. Peltzer announced, "Let's welcome Pete to our team. Pete, you will be sitting behind Ralph." Settling into his seat, Pete pulled his hat down over his head so that only his eyes could be seen. Evidently, Gabe wanted to come say hi.
Hi.
Okay, can you go back upstairs and work on your tablet, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Turning around, Ralph warned him, "They don't allow hats in class here." "You're not my mother," snarled Pete. After giving an assignment, Mr. Peltzer walked around the class and quietly asked Pete to remove his hat. Once he walked away, Pete poked Ralph. "Thanks a lot," he growled. Later that day at recess, Pete didn't ask to join the soccer game. Instead, he just watched. "Hi, Pete," Ralph said. "Do you want to get into the game?" "Not with you nerds," Pete replied. "I don't like those kids." "Well, what do you want to do?" asked Ralph. Pete smiled spitefully. "Let's steal the ball. We're bigger than that team. We can have our own game." "I don't think so," answered Ralph. That's not how, goodness, I cannot read today. "That's not how we do things around here." "Then I'll do it myself if you're so afraid." Pete does not seem like a very happy kiddo right now. Let's find out if there's a reason why. Pete ran over to the field and yelled, "Pass it to me." When David passed the soccer ball, Pete grabbed it and ran off the field. "What's going on?" shouted David. Pete didn't answer. He ran faster and faster. Somebody has a hard time when I leave the room. Can you please go upstairs and do what you're supposed to be doing?
Can I just be down here? I will not bothering you.
Honey, but you have to work on your tablet. You have to do your school stuff too.
No, I will be down here working.
You have to be in the other room. You cannot be in here. That's why I came downstairs, because it's very loud. Okay? Okay, thank you. Pete didn't answer. He ran faster and faster, then turned and waved the ball in the air. At first, the kids just stood there. Then they huddled together before walking over to Pete. Ruby and Lucy led the way. "I know you're new around here, but what are you doing?" asked Ruby. "I'm playing with a soccer ball," Pete snapped. "Think you're going to take it away from me?" Ruby didn't argue, nor did she threaten Pete. Instead, she said softly but firmly, "It's your first day here, so there is no way you could know this. In Mr. Peltzer's class, we made a promise." We promised to take care of ourselves, each other, and our classroom, and to solve problems peacefully. We promised in this class no one would stand by and accept bad behavior. When someone acts hurtfully, we all speak up. We want you to be a member of the class and to make the same promise. Dumb rules, dumb promises. Throwing the ball to the ground, Pete walked away. I'm guessing Pete is pretty upset because he had to move to a new school, which I know there's some of you that have had to do that, and it doesn't feel good. It's not a good feeling. But being mean to everyone around you is not going to be helpful. It's not going to answer that, isn't going to help that situation at all. The next day, Pete ate alone. When he finished lunch, the kids raced out of the lunchroom while Pete trailed behind. Ruby ran up to Pete and asked, "Do you want to come play soccer today?" "I don't play with nerds." "Okie dokie," Ruby replied. "Hey, Ruby," Pete called after her. Ruby stopped and turned. "Nice shirt," Pete complimented her. Then he squirted his juice box at her. "You are so mean," she shrieked at him. "I'll tell everyone how mean you are. You won't have any friends here." By now, Ralph, David, and some others had come up to them. "Ruby, I won't let you do that," Ralph said clearly. "Remember our promise?" "I don't want to remember the promise. Look what he did. We'll ignore him forever until he leaves his school and goes back to his old school."
Go in the size right happen.
Ralph walked between Ruby and Pete. "We're not going to do this, Ruby. I know that you're angry. You can tell Mr. Peltzer if you want, but we're not going to let you treat Pete like this. And we won't put up with his bad behavior either." Ruby stomped away, leaving Pete and Ralph behind. "No one's ever done that before," said Pete. "Why did you stand up for me? I've been in your shoes, and I've learned being a bully doesn't work." "And I'm not a bystander," Ralph said. "I don't stand by and let mean things happen. Besides, Ruby is my friend, and you shouldn't have ruined her shirt." "Won't the other kids be mad at you for sticking up for me?" Pete asked. "No way. They all made the same promise. We talked about it for a long time with Mr. Pelzer. And every kid here tries to keep that promise." Many of you know that I am not really big on making promises, because really it's hard. Sometimes there's some promises that are really hard to keep. So I don't want you to feel, completely down and, distraught over not being able to keep a promise. These things, I would rather call it a pledge, not a promise. This is just the wording that the author uses. But I wanted to kind of give that note as well. "At my old school, I got picked on all the time," Pete said. "Everybody just let it happen. So I started to tease kids before they could be mean to me." Ralph replied, "We decided that when somebody tries to be a bully, no one will stand by and let it happen. We speak up, or we ask for help from an adult, but we won't be bystanders to bad behavior." There's that really important word that some of you know and some of you may not know, but bystander. That's going to come up quite a few times. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. The bell rang and it was time to go back to class. "They hate me. They're never going to let me play with them," Pete said. Before Ralph could answer, David, Lucy, and Ruby came toward them. "I'm sorry about what I said," Ruby apologized. I can't believe I forgot the reason why we made this promise. If we can remember to stand up for each other, school is a lot more fun. The kite that's at the top of this page says, stand up. We are a team. Which is a really awesome message for you to have with your classmates. As many of you go on to Coolidge, yes, you won't have like your homeroom anymore, like your room that you're in all day. You won't have that anymore, but it's still very important for you to have a group that you guys stand up for one another, and you make sure that they don't let you bully, you don't let them bully, and you don't let them just stand by and let it happen. Wow, the kids here are way different than at my other school, Pete said. Maybe I'll give this promise thing a try. Great, let's talk to Mr. Pelsner. Pelsner is not his name. Peltzer is his name. Hey, Ruby. Sorry about your shirt, Pete added. Ruby smiled. No worries. I kind of like the new look. Everyone laughed as Pete and Ruby led the way into class. What do you have in there, buddy?
Water.
Your root beer water? Okay, so that was the end. Sorry, I didn't realize that was the last page. So for those of you who do not know what a bystander is, a bystander are people who see bullying behavior happen and they don't do anything about it. They see it and they're like, nope, not my problem. And they walk away and they don't get help. They don't try to stand up for anyone. Now, when I say stand up for someone, I do not mean let's get into a fight. That is not what I mean. What I mean with standing up is going up and saying exactly what Ralph said. You know, hey, we don't let this happen. I'm not going to be okay with her saying it, but I'm also not going to be okay with you saying it. And remembering that we are a team, that we are working together. If nothing else from this pandemic that we are facing right now and the crisis as to why we are all at home right now, one of the things that would be amazing for everyone to start to see, and what I have seen, is that like we need to all come together. Like we need to be a big team. We need to work together. Facing everything together. And that's what I know a lot of businesses over here. Many of you know I live over in the St. Louis area. I live in South County. Many of the businesses have it on their signs, on their windows. We're in this together. Many churches have the same message. And I'm sure a lot of places over there as well. And that's where like we need to all come together and we need to be supportive and, you know, we need to help each other out, not put each other down. So even as adults, we still have to be reminded of that message, which is what is happening with a lot of the businesses, is reminding us, hey, like we're all struggling. We're all in this. Some are struggling a lot more than others. I will say that. But we all are struggling. Whether it be financially, whether it be emotionally, whether it be, socially and mental health wise. A lot of us struggle to be at home all the time. I've talked to you guys a lot about this in my videos, that being at home all of the time has been a struggle for me. I have gotten out and I've driven, different places just to kind of get out there and see the rest of the world and not just my backyard.
But
Mm-hmm.
I argue.
And you argue? You do argue sometimes. And you have stuff all over your face. Yep. Yes. I only have him. He's my only one. But, it's still, there are days that I'm like, I need to get out. And there are times that I get really sad that I'm not able to see you guys and I'm not able to work with you, in person and have me talking with you talking and talking about what is going on for you, what's going through your mind. Some of you have emailed me, and we've had, you know, somewhat of conversations over email. You didn't really want to talk on the phone, and that's fine. But it's not the same. I think we can all recognize that it's not the same. And of course, my main focus for all of you guys was, you know, getting through your academics, but also, like, I was worried about all of you emotionally. This is something that's very different for all of us. This is not something any of us have ever faced. So that's where I just I've been making sure that you guys are okay. I've been worried about you in that sense. So I don't know, for next week, I would like to do some kind of, like, something different. Please throw out some ideas, anything that you have that maybe we could do. Obviously, like, when we are at school, my usual thing is to bring you treats, like little cakes and stuff for the last time that we're together, or making a craft or something like that. I don't have that availability with this, so it's a little different. And I want it to be a celebration because you guys are moving on, and, you know, many of you I have seen for the last 2 years, and as hard as it is to say goodbye, I still am so proud of you, and I look forward to seeing your success as you move on, and you go through Coolidge, and then you go on to the high school, and then you go on to graduation. So I'm so excited to watch all of that. So I do still want it to be more of a celebration with you. I'm just not sure what to do. Not sure what kind of, what we should do. The only thing I can think of right now is a dance party, and I don't know. I'm sure Gabe would be up for a dance party. Yeah, he's always up for a dance party. So if you have any thoughts, any ideas, please make sure when you are sending me your responses to this video, you go ahead and send that. Speaking of responses, so for Juice Box Bully, we talked about empowering everyone to not be a bystander, to stand up to bullying, to say something, to not bully themselves. Bullying yourselves could be also like getting onto yourself, but it could also be being that bully. So for this week, I would like for you guys to talk about what have you learned as far as bullying is concerned? Some of you have been a bully. Some of you have been bullied. And many of you, in fact, this book had, let me see, I want to say it was 90%. No, it doesn't say, excuse me. It just says that bystanders make up the largest population in schools. So just about everyone has been a bystander at some point or another. So I want you to think back to those times when you have been bullied, when you have been the bully, or when you have been a bystander. Tell me about those situations, and what did you do? And what do you think that you would do differently now? After you have gotten older, you've had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to process emotionally while we've been at home. And I don't want you to give me just the like book answer or what you think that I want to hear. Excuse me. I would like for you to be honest. I would like for you to talk to me, you know, as yourselves, because you know that I know you all pretty well. So if you just write something that you think that I want to hear, most of the time I'm going to be able to tell. I'm going to be able to tell that that's what you're doing. So, please still give me those responses this week. Next week, like I said, I'm not 100% sure what we will end up doing. Give me some ideas. That would be awesome. What, bud?
How do we get it off?
You don't, honey. You're using water. You can't erase that.
How do we do it again?
When it dries, you'll be able to do it again. But it'll take a while to dry.
Okay, but today.
Anyway, I hope you all have a great day. Note for you and your parents. Very, 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 very important. I will put a note in the top of my email whenever I send this out. But the last day to get anything out of Grigsby, the last day to get anything out of your lockers is the 22nd.
Mommy, can I tell my
After that day, everything that is there will be thrown away. And that is purely due to the fact that the custodians are getting ready to sanitize everything, to clean everything out. Obviously, this year is a little different than usual. Usually, you guys are able to clean out your own lockers, and all they have to do is grab the trash. But very, very, very important. If you want anything out of Grigsby, so that includes if you left anything, coats, hats, gloves, anything in your locker, make sure that you get there by the 22nd. You can only go between 8, I want to say it's 8 and 11 in the mornings. The locker cleanouts actually ended technically today, or yesterday actually. But you have today, tomorrow, and next week. Make sure you go and do your locker clean out. I would probably suggest calling ahead and letting Mr. Stratton or Mrs. Batson know that you're coming. I will say they were probably out of the office a lot. So when you go, I'm not sure. I haven't been there since they've not been doing the work drop off. So I don't know if those front doors are open. If they aren't, you can knock on the glass right by the office, and someone, I would hope, would hear you. I know I am going to be there for the morning time tomorrow. I've got quite a bit of work to do to send it on down to Coolidge. But just wanted to remind you guys of that. So remember, I'm telling you right now, and teachers will probably be reminding you as well, after the 22nd, you are not able to get anything else out of your locker, out of Grigsby. Anything that is there will be gone. So.
Yeah.
All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. Looks like I have things that I have to talk to him about and open. So, have a great week. This one was a short one. And please send me some ideas of next week. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.